TCI is brought to you by future Spendthrift Stallion Palace, the multiple Grade 1 winner and fastest son of City Zip, who will make his next start in the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Sprint.
Welcome back to TCI, your inside track to the Breeders' Cup alongside Joel Cunningham. I'm John Siegel. Well, Joel, last Saturday was Super Saturday. We had all those major Breeders' Cup preps. Today I want to see how they affected the TCI top fives. And let's start off with the Distaff division. You know, we saw Untappable, we saw Got Lucky in action. You know, you thought Got Lucky was kind of sitting on a big race. You thought she could really perform pretty well. Man, that was a pretty exciting race, and she just gets up to beat Untappable.
She does, although I will say this, you know, turn for home, you know, at the 8th pole, I really felt like it was Untappable's race to lose. I mean, she was in tracking position, the way that track was playing. You know, she looked so loaded turn for home, but she just didn't want to go by the pace setter. I mean, I think she just hung there, John. I don't know what her issue is. I don't know if it's as much physical, it is mental with her this year as a 4-year-old, and why she hasn't been as dominant as she was at 3. But with that said, she's right there again at the wire. She's just not pulling these things out, but she's right there. I thought she ran a great race, and again, Untappable is that horse that, you know, again, to me, feels like she's sitting on a breakthrough performance, which is odd to say because she was so good last year, but she just seems to be getting a little better, and she's showing enough there that I feel like if she were to break through and dominate the Distaff, it wouldn't surprise me all that much, although a lot of people have given up on her this year based on her form. But to me, I thought she ran a great race there. Just hung a little bit there, and that last 1/8 of a mile stretch run was slow enough to set it up for Got Lucky to, I mean, those two horses were just hanging, and Got Lucky had no choice but to come up and win that race. But certainly, you know, that's a filly, again, in a big field with legitimate pace. She's so sharp right now, Got Lucky, that she figures going a mile and 1/8 against these top mares right now in the Distaff.
But you don't feel like she did enough to jump above Untappable here on the top 5?
I'm very comfortable with the top 5 and leaving it the way it is. I mean, Wedding Toast, again, if Wedding Toast can replicate her form at Belmont, if she can carry that to Keeneland, you know, I think she's going to be your favorite in the race. Sheer Drama, they did want to have a final prep with her. They're training her in South Florida, bypassed a final prep.
Right.
But I like Sheer Drama's tactical ability. Not only is she in career form right now, her tactical ability to be maybe forwardly placed or in that second flight gives her an edge in here, John, based on what the pace scenario is going to be like. So that's why I have her in the top spot. But I think we have a pretty good read on that division, not worth readjusting that top 5.
All right, well, let's launch a new top 5, and let's launch a top 5 in the dirt mile. You know, this race, it's funny because it's that in-between race, but Joel, it keeps getting better and better every year. It's not one of those races that people are now saying, hey, look, we don't think we're quite good enough for the Classic, so we're going to go in here and not fast enough for the Sprint. Joel, these are legitimate horses that are going to be running in here this year. I'm pretty impressed with this top 5.
I am too. I think the addition of Liam's Map and Wicked Strong really made it a good race. If indeed Wicked Strong does run in the dirt mile and not the Classic, I'm not sure. He ran pretty well in the Jockey Club Gold Cup. They still may go for the Classic. But right now I'm going to put him in the dirt mile here. Liam's Map. Huge announcement earlier this week after his work. Todd Pletcher said they feel like he fits the dirt mile better. I agree with that, John. If you watch the Harlan's Holiday earlier this year at Gulfstream, you know, at their mile and a 16th, they start almost on the turn, which is where you're going to start at Keeneland. You know, it's almost like a 1:70 race. You're starting close to the turn. He's got that gate speed to get good position before they hit that first turn. And a 2-turn mile, I think, is perfect for him. They were concerned whether or not he would go a 1.25 miles. And I agree. I think he would have been nothing more than a pace presence in the Breeders' Cup Classic. But it affects the Classic, too. We'll talk about that in a second. But the fact that Liam's Map is so sharp right now, him running in a race like this, the dirt mile, against some horses that, you know, quite honestly, like you said, every year it's the horses that don't quite make the Classic. I think that gives him a clear edge to be on top of this top 5. But there is other speed in the race. I mean, look, if Private Zone runs in the dirt mile, if Braidster runs in the dirt mile, I mean, some of these horses are very fast. Liam's Map hasn't proven that he can overcome a fast pace and beat top horses. So be interesting to see how much he can control the pace in the dirt mile if other speed shows up.
You know, it's also interesting. I see Honor Code in there at number 5. You know, it was a disappointing race. Joe, I just thought he was way too far back. I mean, it was kind of soft fractions up front. You expecting a lot. I see you put him in here in the dirt mile. Was it because of his performance?
Yeah, let's see the top 5 again in the dirt mile here. I just feel like, you know, with Honor Code, I think he's better around 1 turn. I know he proved in the Whitney he can handle 2 turns. But coming to a track like Keeneland, he's going to take so much money in that race. And for me, he's just not my kind of horse in this type of race, John. You know, I think Red Vine, you know, getting a mile, two-turn mile, I think that hits him right between the eyes. He beat Honor Code over his track in the Kelso. A Wicked Strong, all that class that he has, you know, in good form. I think this will be kind of a drop in class for him, maybe to a degree. And Protonico, a horse that is the greatest stakes winner at Keeneland, you know, wasn't good the second half of the year, but probably needed his last race in the Woodward, and I think will train up to this and probably make a good account for himself. A horse that can either be tactically placed or have a good stretch kick, Protonico. So I think those are 4 horses to me that are more attractive than Honor Code.
All right, well, let's take a look then at the Classic. I know we launched this last week, but we do have one change in here. I see Beholder's moved up, and Coach Inge is now off of there. Why'd you move Beholder up over Toneless when Toneless had a winning performance?
Well, and again, this is where pace makes the race, in my view. I mean, if you have Liam's Map, if you're envisioning the Classic with Liam's Map in it, you know there's going to be a legitimate pace. When you throw him in there, you know, certainly the cruising speed of American Pharaoh, some of these other horses that are pointing for this race, which is probably going to be over 10 horses, you know the pace is going to be legit in there. And to me, that sets up Toneless. Sets up a deep closer in there where every horse has a chance through fast fractions. But now you take Liam's Map out. You know, American Pharaoh's in there, and you're going to have some speed when you have that size of a field, but I don't think it's going to be as good of a pace. And so I'm a little concerned about Toneless, even though, you know, he just won this past weekend and we're moving him out of the top spot. But again, pace makes the race for me. I like Beholder's tactical ability better than Toneless in a race that may turn up to have a moderate pace. That's the reason I give her a slight edge right now, and I flip-flop them at 1-2. And again, we had Coach Inge off the list. Frosted, to me, is a 3-year-old that's trending in the right direction in top form. I give him the edge. Coach Inge just ran too bad to be true in the Jockey Club Gold Cup.
All right, so I got to stand up and fight for all the American Pharaoh fans that will be out there. I mean, if you're seeing that race and you think it's going to be Beholder out there on the lead, do you not see American Pharaoh right there? Maybe it's almost like a match race with those two.
Well, no, I don't see a Beholder on the lead. I just think if it's a moderate pace, a horse like Toneless that drops so far out of it's going to have a hard time making up all that ground. As to where Beholder, if she's able to stalk, she's going to get a serious tactical advantage in a jump over Toneless in this race. I actually see American Pharaoh on the lead. The greatest thing that could happen to American Pharaoh was seeing Liam's Map go to the dirt mile, in my opinion. I mean, you did not want to see a brilliant horse like that, you know, and have to battle those fast fractions and have to take on a horse like that on the far turn and then put him away and hold off the closers. American Pharaoh got a big advantage with Liam's Map declaring for the dirt mile, in my opinion.
All right, well, let's talk about the sprint division now. And this is a new TCI Top 5 that we're launching. No surprises here, really. I mean, Rockfall is the best sprinter in America right now. Yep. But I will tell you, this Run Happy, Joel, he's really showing he's a pretty good sprinter himself.
You know, you watch Run Happy's performance going 46.2 miles per hour since they've done practice there, John. I mean, look, let's look at that field in the Phoenix Stakes, John. That was not a grade 3 field. You had Run Happy in there, mixing it up, you know, with Work All Week. I mean, that was a grade 1 level prep at Keeneland for that race. As good as Run Happy is, you know, what's going to happen to him when he has to mix it up with some really fast horses like Favorite Tale, you know, on the front end here. Private Zone, if he goes, is he's got a one-dimensional horse. He's gonna blitz out of the gate. There's so much speed in the sprint every year. I like a horse that has the lick to be able to get out of the gate fast, get good position, but also finish off of it. I think that's important. Run Happy to me is just untested. That's the reason I don't have him as highly ranked as Rockfall. Horse to me has that lick, is so tactical and can do it in so many different ways. The more and more I watch his races, the more impressed I am with Rockfall. And I think he may have needed his last race. So I expect him to be the prohibitive horse to beat. You know, the fact that he's won 7 in a row and Work All Week. Again, those top 3 for me are the best top 3, being the defending champion, being that Work All Week likes Keeneland so much. And then I could throw in a couple closers in there that I think are legit Class C 6 furlong closers, have had good years, and that's Wild Dude and Saludos Amigos. So I think that's a good top 5, but to me, the top 3 really separated themselves from the field.
Well, I mean, Wild Dude, he won a grade 1 over the weekend too, so it looks like he's coming in prepared and ready for the sprint as well. So it's going to be some exciting racing for sure. We're going to get out to Keeneland. We're going to start getting eyeballs on these horses like you mentioned.
Yeah, the Fletcher horses are here in training. You know, we're going to start seeing them trickle in the next couple weeks, John. It's going to be exciting to actually get out there and get eyes on them there on the grounds and watch them train.
All right, well, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you come back next week. We'll give you our first impressions on the horses here at Keeneland, and we'll also release some new TCI Top 5s.